Well, good afternoon, gardening friends. It's about 15 minutes from maybe 20 minutes from the last time I tried to do this. This is take two for the entire thing because, as I've been known to do in the past, I accidentally got out of sync and all I recorded was the spaces between what I wanted to say. So, here we are starting over. Not a whole lot some things have happened in the garden. I haven't been able to give it as much attention this past week as I'd like to. This is 2 weeks in a row that I've kind of neglected the garden, which isn't good, especially when you're starting out. But let's go through the garden and I'll show you kind of what's going on. Let's see how much I can remember here since I haven't been labeling, which is another thing I've been wanting to do, and that's not good gardening practice. But in the first pot over here, we've got an ivy plant, which there's not a whole lot to say about it. You plant it and it grows, or it stays alive. It hasn't really gotten much bigger, but I'm not sure whether I've done something right or wrong there. Second, we've got the big pot here, which has one of the smaller tomato varieties that I planted. Next to that is the bean that wasn't looking healthy last week, and it's basically turned brown at this point, so I'll probably yank it and stick a bean seed in there. There's another one in here where I've planted a bean seed, which should have sprouted by now. I did most of this planting last weekend right after I shot the video for the last episode. Over here, and now I'm trying to remember what I planted in here. Let's move on to this one for a moment. This is the Swiss chard. I planted 2 seeds just in case one seed or the other didn't germinate, and it looks like the one that I planted towards the back has germinated. It's really hard to see. You know what? Let me go ahead and zoom in for you. I'm hoping that's getting you close enough so you can actually see next to my big fat finger here. There is a few. It actually looks like a few sprouts, but I guess each seed puts up a few stems, so it looks like something's actually growing in there. We'll see how well it does. Next to that, we've got quite a few things going on. We've got another Swiss chard planted here. Next to that, I believe, is where I put the other bean, or I planted a bean seed already, and it just hasn't sprouted yet. On the other side of that, I'm not sure what I've actually planted in there, and that has me a little worried. I think maybe what I've done here, because I remember planting nasturtium seeds, is that this black one over here and the yellow one that I mentioned before I couldn't remember, I believe those are nasturtium. They just haven't actually germinated yet. In front of that, well, actually no, let me go back. We have another small variety tomato and another ivy behind it. And in front, I've got 3 cups that were sitting in the incubator this week, and they've sprouted, which is good news. We've got a debut tomato, red robin tomato, and another debut tomato. The other 3 cups that I had are all still in the incubator, and I'm waiting for them to sprout. Those are 2 copies of the same bell pepper, and 1 more red robin, so we'll see what happens with those. Let me zoom in a little bit more in a minute and show you, but actually I wanted to show you, I have 2 of these small cups that were part of the light versus dark experiment, which you'll have to go back and kind of watch, and when I talk about the incubator, you probably have to go back a few episodes to see what I'm talking about there. But those 2 smaller cups have Swiss chard in them. This one's pretty much dead. This one, which is now sitting inside the little frog because the container fit perfectly in the opening. That one's doing a little bit better. It's not looking wonderful, but I'm going to keep it going as long as I can, just in case the other Swiss chards somehow don't work out. What I'm kind of concluding, well, let me go ahead and zoom in and show you these things first. Here's the 2 Swiss chard plants. The one on the left is dying, the one on the right is still alive. And here's the sprouts that are in the 3 cups that were sitting in the incubator. Most of the newer plantings that I've mentioned were all planted last weekend after I wrapped up shooting the last episode. So they've had about a week to develop, and that's pretty much it for the garden. Oh, the tree, which I always seem to forget about until the last second, which I also forgot about this week to some degree. I didn't water it, or I wasn't keeping track of the water, and it basically, the reservoir ran dry. The tree seems to be holding up beautifully despite that. I added more water this morning, and I've really just got to make a point of actually checking the reservoir each morning and maybe just keep topping it off just in case I forget for a few days. Then I can go back and it'll still have water. But it's looking good. I'm really happy about that tree. That's the only one getting actual natural sunlight. Not a whole lot, but it's getting some natural sunlight. None of the other plants that are sitting over in that area of my apartment on a table next to the window are really doing anything. They're just pretty much dying off. The tree seems to be the only thing surviving over there, so I may have to plan things differently in terms, I was going to put a whole bunch of plants on that table, but they just don't get a whole lot of sunlight, so the only thing I can really do here is artificial light, and at that I think I need to give these more light than I've been giving them. So with that, I think we're done for the week. I'll try to pay more closer attention to my plants this week. I don't want to, come to the end of the week and be giving you an episode where everything has died, except the ivy. Anyway, it's the Budget Gardener signing off and saying, may your thumb, even if it's indoors, be green.